Okay, welcome back, everybody. Before we jump into the next session, just a quick reminder that if you don't want to be seen on the platform, you can hide your profile and update how you receive notifications by going into the preferences pane. Just be aware too that by doing so, you'll limit your ability to interact with others on the platform. Next up is a session from AYTM. Candace, take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all enjoying the first few days of the Quirks virtual event. We're excited today to chat with two amazing leaders in insights and innovation about how their small but agile teams have tapped into AYTM to get more done in less time with less budget. I'm Candace Coltrane, Vice President of Global Sales here at AYTM. So first, let's go ahead and introduce our two panelists today. Deb, would you like to start off?
Sure. So I'm Deb Mendez, and I'm the Consumer and Shopper Insights Manager for the innovation team at Pharmavite. Pharmavite might not mean a lot to you, but we're the makers of Nature Made. I hope that you can see it, the brand leader in vitamins and supplements.
And my name is Carrie Hughes. I'm a market research manager on the Consumer Insights and Research team at Voya Financial. I've been with Voya now for about 4 years, but been working in strategic insights and research for quite some time. And, my experience really does range across all types of research, both quantitative, qualitative, including customer relationship management, product optimization, market positioning, ad testing, concept tests, and lately lots of PR and thought leadership research. So happy to be here and share our thoughts. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you both. We're very excited for your insights. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So today's first question is going to be focused on what was happening in the business that made you realize the need for adopting agile methodologies into your research processes. Deb, go ahead and start with your on your end.
Sure. So at a high level, Nature Made was competing with different brands, broadline brands like us, a lot of entrepreneurial brands who were starting to challenge our leadership in the market. And that drove the need to be more agile in our innovation processes and also in the way that we did research. Internally, there were some challenges too, where the insights team wanted to be focused on doing more foundational research, which meant that the innovation team needed to handle its own research. We are two consumer insights researchers in the innovation team and about 12 people total, many marketers. So it meant that a lot of the marketers needed to take ownership in those processes.
And so for us, I think like many other research and insights teams out there, we had a few agile tools that were available within our own toolbox, but like our consumer online community and things like that. But over the last year, we really saw how everything was changing with COVID-19, and we really needed a tool that we could use to get some generalizable, detailed, quantitative feedback more quickly and, faster than ever before. So, we were regularly receiving requests from our stakeholders, but our capacity and our resources had not changed. And we are a team of 4 insights team members. And we knew that, a lot of the external vendors that we've been working with recently, you have a lot of 4 to 6 week turnaround time. It takes a little bit longer. And this was really becoming not ideal for the situation, given how fast everything was changing, with COVID-19, things changing literally every day. And for us, we're also looking at the market, and the state of the market was also changing every day. So there was a lot of volatility there. And the data that we had collected like a month prior, for example, quickly became outdated. So we really needed a tool to get us fresh insights quickly. And then again, working in financial services, that uncertainty in the market as well as among consumers really helped us drive the support that we needed to get such a tool like a DIY agile survey tool with our stakeholders, right? So giving us that push that we really needed to invest in AYTM. And really also be able to get out into the field more quickly, get responses on an iterative basis, but in a more cost-efficient way. So, adding new tools can definitely be difficult, but showing the power behind the data and the cost savings over time really helped us build a case for AYTM.
Absolutely, and thank you both. Really good insights there. And you obviously mentioned a lot of, why you needed to turn towards agile. So let's get a little bit more specific now with what were some of the most sought after capabilities that you were looking for during the actual vendor evaluation? And Deb, if you'd like to lead us on this one.
Sure. So we were, as I said, in the innovation team, we were absorbing a lot of the work that we used to get support from the core insights team. And there are several marketers on the team just to insights managers. So we needed a tool that was going to be really intuitive for marketers. There are a lot of other platforms there that are designed to do agile insights, but not all of them are so intuitive in the terms of the interface with the users. We not only needed them to be intuitive and to get obviously accurate data for us to trust the panel composition, for us to believe that the data would be similar and will lead us to make the same business decisions than with less agile tools. So we needed that balance of being agile while being rigorous enough to give us confidence in the business decisions. Also very intuitive, but also to some degree to get marketers excited about them having to absorb this work and put some more things on their plate that were already full. So the platform, it's really playful, and there was some resistance in some team members, and now they've embraced the tool fully and they actually enjoy that part of their work. Carrie, what about you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Deb. And, we really needed an additional tool that was flexible, fast, and budget friendly, right? So of course we still work with our other vendors in more traditional ways, but we really needed that agile tool that provided us with a fast turnaround on data. So, we could really get those insights in more quickly. And one of the things that we've heard before, and my boss and I always say, right, we always hear good, fast, cheap, pick two, right? But with AYTM, we really do feel like you can get all three. And so it's definitely been a win-win for us. And the more advanced techniques and data analysis tools that AYTM does have available also really allows us to save time on the back end, and especially when it comes to reporting and crosstabs. So we love that we can do our own kind of max diffs or run different monadic design tests on our own. And again, with that reporting tool, we are really able to turn around our reports so much more quickly than we would be able to with other research reports. Again, since we're such a small team and we're constantly being tasked with doing more with less, especially with everything going on with COVID. So saving time for us is definitely critical. We have a lot of requests and ongoing, research needs that just kind of keep going on in the background while the rest of the world is moving forward. So anything that we can do to really simplify the process is very much appreciated.
Absolutely. And I think that really kind of lends nicely to the next question, which is really around the types of research that you're using the platform for. We've talked a lot about, your move to agile and what drove that from business needs. Getting a little bit more specific now, we've mentioned advanced research. Can you drill into some specific situations where you've been able to leverage the platform for specific research needs? And Deb, if you'd like to start off with that one as well.
Okay, sure. So yes, we started using AYTM mainly for idea screeners and concept testing. But since then, we've also added turf analysis, conjoints. I don't think we have used price sensitivity analysis yet, but that's definitely something where I can see us using in the future. But yeah, I would say that those are the core tools we've used thus far. What about you, Carrie?
Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously a lot of capabilities within the platform, which is great. But lately, we've been doing a lot of research-driven publicity. So, you know, these surveys are often in support of new products that we're developing or services or other offerings that we're looking to get some data on to support, you know, the launch of or provide some communications around that sort of so what or new news directly from the perspective of our consumers or customers and what they are looking for. And again, that, you know, the AYTM tool itself is powerful in the fact that we can really go out and get some large nationally representative samples within days, which is necessary for this type of research. And again, the turnaround time is just faster than, you know, most quick term omnibuses even are. So timing is definitely everything. And that has been a big plus for us in what we've been doing lately.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the ability to go out there and reach, you know, larger general population type audiences for the PR work that you're doing. And Deb, I know when you and I chatted before, you talked about the ability to reach those harder to reach audiences. Anything specific to add there around how you're utilizing the tool for kind of that segmentation layer?
Yes, that's been great value added. And honestly, I'm really grateful for the partnership with AYTM because we've been able to provide you guys with the typing tool that came out from our segmentation study so we can recruit for our core and design targets and be able to understand whether our new product concepts are not only going to have mass appeal with Gen population, but if they're going to disproportionately attract the consumer segments that we're most interested on. So we have that ability to really customize it to our needs.
Great, thank you. So now fast forward, you've onboarded and you've learned more about the tool. You've been using the tool for, 6+ months. Curious what surprised you most about working with AYTM? And Carrie, if you want to start with this one.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, so I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised with first how user-friendly the platform is in general, right? Even when you're using it for these more difficult and advanced techniques. And we didn't mention the stat testing earlier on, which is definitely a plus as well. But also, what's really great is if you do have questions, you have this awesome support team that's really responsive and helpful. And depending on the project, you can kind of get a varying level of involvement from that support team, right? So if we're low on capacity for internal resources, we can look to this support team for either full service, including reporting, or you could just have them do programming, or you could do it all yourself and just have them check it. So I feel like for us, again, just being such a small team, that's really, really important. And for an example, we had a survey that we needed to get launched like immediately, and we just did not have the ability within that time frame within our own team, and we were able to rely on the AYTM team to get it programmed and get it launched that day. So that was definitely really helpful and something we wouldn't have been able to do. So I think that I'm always kind of like, oh, please let me know if I'm asking you too many questions or I'm leaning on you too much. And the team is always so helpful and so supportive in that way. So I feel like I was definitely surprised with the level of support. And we have a lot going on in our team. We work across the entire enterprise. We support every business line, and we do a significant amount of research. So again, like really being able to lean on that team has been so helpful. And then I think I also, one of the things that we love is, and I don't know that everyone has this, but we have our brand colors loaded into the platform, and we have really strict standards that we need to follow when it comes to our brand templates and stuff. And that really helps us as well, because we could just download the report in our own colors. We don't have to redo all the charts and things like that. So anything that's really helped save time and move forward more quickly is great. And I think pleasantly surprised at how well that's been going. So yeah. Deb, what about you?
That's great feedback.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the things you've mentioned. I think that what surprised me was that ability to adapt to our processes. So as the ideas incubator within Pharmavite, we work in agile ways. And by that, I don't mean just quick turnarounds. It's just this mindset of going with a minimum viable product and iterating and improving on each iteration. And that applies to insights. So we might go with a concept testing that it's very basic, and then we would launch it, we would learn, we would improve, we would refine to get better insights in the long term, but to get timely insights in the short term. And this idea of, I think sometimes researchers might think about these two opposite of do it yourself or full service. And we've been able to work with AYTM in a gray space where I can do on my own a specific template and get feedback from AYTM, and we launch it and we learn. And then I do some improvements and get feedback from them. So it's truly this iteration of the insights process while being patient on the things where we're not agile. At Pharmavite, it's a large corporation. We're very rigorous in terms of NDAs and these bureaucratic processes that are required for the business, and that AYTM has been flexible to work with us in that sense as well.
That's great. I mean, I know for me, when we're talking to prospective clients, one of the biggest hurdles that they kind of fear when they think about agile research is having to do it on their own, right? And having access to a platform is just one piece of the puzzle. It's the partnership and really, the people that support that technology that truly allow for that great relationship and strategy and consulting. So it's great to hear that that's resonating with our clients as well. So this next question is one that we hear quite often as companies are looking to make a progression towards agile research. And so I'm really interested in having you share your thoughts on this as well. Have you noticed any difference with regard to the quality of data when you're using agile technologies or resources for some of the more traditional routes of research? And Carrie, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, so no, I mean, my short answer here is no, but there are definitely, for us, at least some specific target groups that are maybe more low incidence or more specialized that we would still, lean on some, maybe like an expert recruiter in that particular area. But when it comes to our more broad kind of consumer target groups that we focus on, we have definitely had no issues. Another thing that I really love about the tool is that you're totally hands-on as far as like you can go in there and you set up your targets ahead of time. Make sure all of those quotas are really set up correctly. And again, work with the support staff to make sure that we're really going after all of the right individuals. And we've actually consistently kind of like balanced who we're going for throughout a survey process as well. So we might check in a couple weeks later, make sure that we really have that spread of, ethnicity or age or whatever it is that we're looking for. And again, the support staff is very hands-on with that. So for me, really being able to kind of see that and follow it as we go, as well as obviously you can test the survey yourself ahead of time, like other survey platforms. So I feel, very confident in the data and the fact that we are involved along the way, and we can really see who we're targeting and track it real time. So that way, if you do need to make adjustments, there's time to do so. So, and again, the team, they also check everything. So you've got multiple sorts of checks and balances going on along the way. So it's been great. Yeah. Deb,
yeah.
What do you think?
I think that very similar to what Carrie was saying. Those were some valid concerns that some stakeholders had at the beginning, right? And that's completely understandable at the end. Like, you need good quality data, and it was an unproven tool at that point. So what we did was to start small, just implementing Agile, start small, start asking questions that are low risk, start seeing the results, thinking about how does that line up with existing data points, with existing research, and understanding that how the results vary by gender or by age group or by concept, all those things that to be true about your business and about your consumer, and just making those checks. And then you start trusting the tool more and more and more. And then there is a point where you still have your full toolkit, and you still will have other tools for different business questions, but this one definitely it's part of those toolkits that you can leverage when you need quick results, when you have low resources, and you can make more informed decisions that start educating the stakeholders too. So in the long term, you start needing even less research at the end because you continue collecting data points that educate you as an insights person.
That actually was a great segue into my next question, Deb, that I was going to start with you around is, it's really around, having access to this type of tool. We always hear, being able to be more iterative. And you've mentioned before, as well as Carrie, that, now that you have access to something like this, or your team knows that you have access to something like this, the questions are pouring in, right? And the data and the requests are much more frequent. So having access to this tool, I mean, how much did that have an effect on the types of conversations that you're having with stakeholders, or how often? And did it allow for insights in the organization to be brought to the table maybe a bit more than in the past?
Yes, definitely, for a couple of reasons. On one hand, you're allocating resources to, you're delegating tasks to the platform, right? And that frees times on everyone. And then you will also have multiple options. So a few days ago, we were having some R&D issues and making decisions between two options and feeling more restrictive. And with a tool like this, that there might be some R&D or finance restrictions that might not be completely real. For example, I proposed the team, like, well, let's test this new option that it's available to see if what we from the manufacturer side consider as a downgrade, it's really seen as that by the consumer. Maybe it doesn't have an effect. So if we test that and we get that answer, it opens up possibilities, because you can comfortably make a decision that favors R&D or finance, and it really doesn't, it's not to the detriment of the consumer. So that's an example of how conversations have changed.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
Carrie, sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
No, it's fine. And, for us, I would say our business partners have definitely been very excited about the tool just in general. Since we've kind of started introducing it as a capability within our team, we have had, more people come to us for research than, maybe would have before. And, since this tool really is that accessible, it really encourages our stakeholders to, take more advantage of having it as a capability, right? And it also allows us to do research where we maybe otherwise would not have been able to due to either cost or timing restraints. So that's definitely been a plus as well. And then, I also do believe that this tool really has allowed those who maybe are less familiar with working with quantitative data to better understand and recognize the power of having these insights, and including that when they are either marketing or communicating on certain products, or any things like that. So I think we are seeing others within the organization who are seeing the data come in really become kind of more empowered to include the research in their work as well. And again, that's across the organization. So marketing, communications, PR, product, things like that. So I definitely think in a way, this tool has really helped us as a research and insights team kind of, if we weren't seen before, be more seen across the organization and show how we are really there to help. And so I think that it's really been great in that way in terms of connecting with our stakeholders and partners.
It's such a great story just to hear, how we're allowing you to, to shine, right, within your organization. So that's perfect. And so one of the last questions I'm going to ask here, so obviously you've shared some wonderful backgrounds on your own experiences with moving towards agile technologies and the process and how you've been able to get your teams to adopt them as well as other parts of the organization. And I'm curious if you could provide some advice to those listening here and those who are contemplating making that same type of move, how should they build a business case to become more agile? If you could maybe provide a little bit of insight into how you were able to do that for your organization. Deb, would you like to start?
Yeah, so in terms of becoming more agile, I think that there's definitely this advantage of showing how much resources, how many resources you save in terms of both budget and time, right? So it's more data to be able to make a greater impact on the organization, more timely and just to make informed decisions based on data rather than make decisions based on what the stakeholder believes to be true about the business. So there's already that appeal from people in the organization to adopt that. There are also barriers, and it goes back to probably not trusting and then just believing more in the rigor of non-agile tools. And I feel like that's when you can negotiate a path forward where you start small with low risk decisions. And in that you check your data, and honestly, you ask the tough questions to AYTM, like how does the panel work? What panel you're using, or what type of incentives work? Like you work with them until you gain that trust yourself as a researcher with the tool, and then among stakeholders. What do you think, Carrie?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that as researchers, the need and interest for agile insights was kind of already there, right? We knew that it's becoming more popular. You're having to like pull from all these different sources and bring everything together for your partners, right? But I think for us at least, right, with COVID, it really helped us. I guess it kind of poured rocket fuel on this trend, right? Like we kind of already knew we had to do agile insights, but it really just kind of pushed everything forward more quickly, especially for those who maybe aren't as, aren't working in research every day and aren't seeing these things happening. So I think that, while we as researchers probably already had a strong case, it's not that hard anymore to build a case to support the need for this sort of tool. But, I think that you really need to help your stakeholders kind of understand more how these insights can be used across the organization, right? And how it makes your firm maybe more nimble, competitive, more responsive, things like that in terms of what consumers are looking for. So, what we really needed to, our key stakeholders, I guess, really needed to know how they could benefit from this type of tool. And we had to provide those examples. So I think one of the things that we've talked about previously that was really helpful for this is that we were able to do a pilot study with AYTM, and that really helped us put a great use case together in order to support our own business case for using this tool. So for us, if anyone's familiar with our Voya Cares program, this pilot focused on caregivers and how they were impacted disproportionately by COVID-19. So we were able to take this data and all these great learnings that we had through that pilot program and kind of build out a really powerful story spotlighting that group, which helped us build that broader understanding across business lines and across the organization to show value. So I think, again, understanding, like overcoming the hurdles of understanding, and as Deb said, trusting the data, is really going to help build a case when it comes to using AYTM and defend the added cost of adding another tool, right? Like, well, we know it's budget friendly. It's still another tool that you have to add and get permission to use. So I think, all of those things sort of helped us build a case, but, which we're really glad about because we were ready for it and we knew we needed it as a team and wanted it. So all of those things. there.
That is wonderful. Thank you both so much. I know we have just about a minute left. Deb and Carrie, wonderful insights, great stories to tell. We had one question come through just really around, are we subscription based or can you work with us ad hoc? And I think everything that you both just said really lends nicely to this question. And while we are a subscription based company, it's less about just buying into a subscription. It's more about buying into a partnership. And you crawl before you walk, right? So it's doing the pilot. It's really building the business case as to why you'd want to invest in that partnership. So for those of you out there, if you have any questions or just want to discuss, agile research in more length, please stop by the virtual booth or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And that should be it. Joe, if you wanted to send us off.
There we go. Sorry about that. Thanks very much, everybody. That was fantastic. Just a quick reminder that the sessions will be on the site for another 60 days. So you can come back and rewatch anything that you found particularly valuable the first time around, or catch up on any of the sessions that you weren't able to attend. So thanks very much, and we'll see you back here soon.